I have no idea. None whatsoever. I don't know if it's up. I don't know if it's on. I don't know if it's working. Why? Because the stupid window's frozen over here. And it says not responding. But the Streamlabs is working. Chrome is currently frozen, which has my video and the chat and everything. And that's not working. Is it chat? Is the show working? I have no idea. It's a. Is it working, monkey? I don't know. Hey, okay, Corporate Walnut says we're live. All right, that's good enough for me. Even though the window that has I have two chats going. There's one, the Streamlab, and there's one I keep on Chrome on YouTube, which shows me like all my analytics and everything. And I got one chat because the Chrome one is currently frozen. As I was typing, wish me luck, I'm about to launch this thing, it froze. And here we are. Okay, so I gotta put this sucker on live chat. That'll probably cause OBS to freeze here. Live chat, okay. That worked. I'm not gonna worry about, sorry people on Twitch side, I'm not gonna make things too complicated here. Okay, so first off, it's episode number 741 of Houston Have a Problem, and there are problems all over the place. So, my computer downloaded its Windows Update. And since then, somehow something's taking up like 60% of my 64 gigs of RAM and freezing. It doesn't matter if it's Chrome, Firefox, Streamlabs, Solitaire, the screensaver. There's like a giant sucking sound of memory coming out of this thing, and I don't know why. So, if I disappear during the show, it's because the computer is just like, kernel error, and just blue screen me, and that's it. So 741 may be a short show, as it were, or it may last the whole hour. I don't know. News. GameStop was today. My options went. I got out, so I went from $70 over like 12 days to $1,500, back down to $500. I reset with five at the monies, 23s for Monday, and we'll see where we go from there. So, man, hey, Chrome just came back. All right, it erased my saying I was going to launch this though. So Chrome's back, fantastic. I can scroll on the bottom on this side and hopefully be able to read that side. Okay, so it's just taking a while for everything to process. I don't know why. It's a supercomputer. It should be able to do everything just fine. Other news, Donald Trump, when he visited Asia a couple weeks ago, he really liked K cars. He thought they were adorable. And so now he's going to allow K cars in the United States, which to me is the first good thing Donald Trump's ever done in his presidency. I love K cars. They're fuel efficient. They're adorable, right? Get the little pickup trucks, get the little convertibles, get the little buses. They're fantastic. So we're gonna start having K cars, which we may, if the K cars are starting to be allowed, we may be able to reduce or eliminate the 25-year import law. So if you see cool cars elsewhere in the world that are made overseas and sold overseas, you can't bring them to the United States until the model year is at least 25 years old, which is, so if there's lots of importers on the West Coast, especially all over the place. So you can import like cool, Honda Atoms or whatever, and to the United States as long as they're 25 years old. So the year 2000 cars can start coming to the United States now. Canada at 7 years. There's actually import businesses in Vancouver and Victoria where you can get newer versions. You can buy them in Canada, register them in Canada, and then drive them into the United States and register them in the United States. So you can kind of get around that loophole a little bit. But I really hope that we have some really kick-ass K cars all of a sudden come in the US, because I love K cars. I think they're awesome. So I will give a tip of the hat to Donald Trump for allowing K cars to come to the US finally. And they're little guys. They're just little guys, little 660 cubic centimeter engines, so 0.66 liter engines. They have like no power. They get the highway speeds very slowly, and they're just adorable little dudes. So, yay. Do I have anything else I was going to add, Monkey? I can't think of shit right now. I'm just so frustrated with this computer. So, okay. So there you go. I don't have a 741 intro. We can do the show 500 intro again because that was a good intro. Why not? Let's do the show 500 intro. Alexander, aren't you forgetting something? Streamlabs is frozen.
Whoops. Let me just push this button right here.
Why'd you freeze, man?
Nope, that wasn't it.
Oh, no, it didn't freeze. Okay.
What about this one? Maybe this one? Gosh darn it.
Make me think it froze.
Well, since we're here, 500 shows? How? More like, wow.
Update this to episode.
I think this is the button.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. Turn that off and make sure others are off. Ooh, the After Dark was still on. Oh my goodness. Okay, those are off. Got super chats. Where are my super chats? First super chat was Dig Dug Doink. The forbidden canned meat calls you. Answer the call, eat the spam. So let's add to the list. And then Don Caesar Shadem says laying in bed. I like falling asleep to late shows. For the first time in my life, I'm terrified of Christians. Don't move to Ohio. Death cult Jesus. That's a foreboding warning. I didn't really plan on moving to Ohio. Ohio is like way too many bugs in the summertime. It's just like in your eyes, and I just don't like it. And then Julio, Glenn Carey seems like a piece of the BBBYQ puzzle. Yeah, so Glenn Carey, he was the head of retail stores for Bed Bath, old version of Bed Bath, and now he's been put in charge of retail stores for GameStop. Interesting. So I wonder. That seems, you know, precipitous. Precipitous? Is that what I'm saying? Prescient? I don't know. Ominous? A portent? Yeah, somewhere in there. Okay. All right, got those out of the way. Dig Dug Doink was first. The Belgian whale, the catalyst is here. Tweet coming this weekend. Sure enough. And Belgian whale says, I'll host the get-together in my Greek beach house. I would love to go to Greece someday. Still never been. So let's do it. Bill Coyne, still waiting for a payday. Well, that's true. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, HW. What's your thoughts about Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers games? Hollywood is about to change. I have a feeling that Congress is going to reject the merger. I think that's coming, which is a bummer because Discovery, the ownership of Discovery is terrible. It's Discovery, Warner Brothers. The execs at Discovery should be packed into a cannon and fired into a wall. They are terrible, terrible people. But if Netflix does take over Warner Brothers, HBO, the first thing they need to do is find all the movies that Warner Brothers made and refused to release for tax purposes, like Batgirl and stuff, and just release them. That's what they should do, and go back and put all the old shows back onto streaming because those Discovery execs are evil. And part of the merger, if the merger does go through, should be the public hanging of all the Discovery executives who took over Warner Brothers. They should just be for a catharsis for everything else. Yeah. So that's my opinion on that. And Brennan Wells says, "Sup BBBY?" I got no BBBY news. Well, I guess on the new BBBY side, there's an S3 that triggered, but we don't see what it is. So on the Edgar site, it's like, hey, this S3 is now triggered, but they don't actually show us the S3 that's triggered. So there's some S3 in there. I don't know. Supposedly it has to do with shares being sold once the warrants are executed or something, like 6 million of them. But you don't really know. Just like Grok, that's what Grok is saying, and I can't trust AI to do anything right. And Daniel Crocker, Houston Happy 741. What's your prognosis for HBO and movies in theaters? Will they withstand today's debauchery, and how long will it take? I think for movie theaters to survive, there has to be a complete change in the pay structure of those movies. Meaning, Hollywood needs to not take as big a cut of per ticket sales at movie theaters, so movie theaters can reduce the price significantly. Because right now, you're competing with, I can sit down and I can watch 10 million movies on demand at home, or I can pay $25 and watch one movie that I may or may not like. That a month later, 3 weeks later, sometimes at the same time, I can watch at home, right? I used to go to the movie theaters like twice a week. I go to the movies all the time, especially when I was in college. There was a dollar theater down the street. I'll go to the dollar theater constantly because it's like, do my homework, go to dollar theater. I'm going to the dollar theater. And on Tuesdays, it was 50 cents. I saw so many movies I never would have watched otherwise. I saw all the Underworld movies, and they are so terrible. I can't remember anything about them except that Kate Beckinsale was hot. That's it. That's the only thing I remember about those movies. Plots, nothing, just gone. But I saw them all because they were $1. Now, movie theaters in general, I think, are kind of toast. I haven't been to a movie in almost 2 years. I used to go twice a week. I haven't been in 2 years. Well, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in the spring because of Furiosa. Furiosa is the last time I went to a movie theater and saw a movie from going twice a week. And there's just like I can go see a Marvel movie, but then I know that it's going to be on Disney Plus or whatever 2 weeks later. Like, why do I care? Why do I need to go see, the big old blockbuster when I've got a 65-inch TV at home and I'm already paying like $100 a month for all these streaming services? So I just don't do it anymore. So if movies were $5, I go to movies all the time. There's even $7. I go to movies every day of the week if they're $7. Heck. But it's just not, it's too expensive. Just too damn expensive. It's like reached this point where people are now organizing their lives in a way that they never go to the movies anymore. It just doesn't even occur to me to go to the movie theater anymore because it's gotten so expensive that it's not even like an option. You'd be like, hey, do you want to go to the Michelin rated 3-star restaurant and pay $200 a plate twice a week? I'm like, no, I'm not going to fucking do that. Maybe a special occasion. If a friend has a movie coming out, I might go see it in the theaters. But right now, no, there's not really anything that really tickles my fancy about movie theaters. I think most of the country is the same way. So these theaters are really going to have to buckle down and figure out deals with the studios and distributors so that they can reduce prices. Because, $25 for a 90-minute movie is, I'm paying more than minimum wage. I'm paying more per hour to watch that movie than the theater is paying the kids to scoop popcorn and sell me tickets. That's absurd. It's like a parking spot in a city making $27 an hour. That's stupid, right? There should be a law that parking spots cannot cost more than minimum wage. That should just be a law, straight up. Like, you can't charge a parking spot anywhere. You cannot charge more than minimum wage for a parking spot. I'm going on rants. Michael Joe 2UO. I can't wait till MOAS and I can afford those good drugs like Palantir CEO. That guy was coked out of his mind at that last. All sorts of videos of he's just like. And it's like, what the hell? I understand people get nervous being in front of crowds. I'm in front of crowds. Well, you guys, a lot, right? I'm out here talking. I do my thing. I don't know if he has like major crowd fears, and that's why he got himself turned his nostrils into ski slopes. But that guy is on so much cocaine. I saw a tweet that was like he's to cocaine as Elon Musk is to ketamine. That guy was coked up. Don Jr. was probably even like, "Whoa, man, slow down." Yeah. So, 469 Super Chat 741. Can we please, for the love of God, get something good this weekend? My options shit the bed. I'm waiting on money to settle so I can buy back for this week. Thank you for everything, Houston. Yeah. That would be really nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice to Powerball's at like $840 million or something. I'd totally take that. That'd work for me. What am I getting a message about? Okay. It's just Iggy texting me. The only thing anyone remembers about Underworld was that Katie was hot. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Kelly Reed, did you watch the Michael Burry interview with Michael Lewis? Lots of discussion about long bear market approaching. Michael Burry suggests investing in healthcare stocks. Well, considering that they're about to blow subsidies out of the water, right? And everyone's going to have to pay just bajillions of dollars out of pocket now for health insurance. I don't know if health insurance is long for this world, right? Like we're talking median salaries won't cover health insurance for families of 4 anymore. Like if you are a normal human being making a median salary of $60,000 and you got a family of 4, after taxes, 100% of your pay would be going to health insurance. That's not feasible. It's not feasible at all. So perhaps, the health insurance companies might do really well for a while, but then all of a sudden people are just gonna be like, well, I won't have health insurance, and we'll just roll the dice because they won't have the money to do it. It'll be like keep a roof over my head and food in my belly, or hope I don't get sick. And they're going to go for hoping I don't get sick, which they will, because everyone gets sick. That's just what happens. You break something, you get cancer, you fall down the stairs, you get in a car accident, you have a heart attack, you have an allergic reaction, you are guaranteed to get sick at some point in your life, and usually some point in your year, and need a doctor anyways. And we're about to doom ourselves and all of that. So, anywho, yeah, long bear market, I can totally see it, because let's work through this. All right. So Donald Trump, he keeps yo-yoing, right? He'll support Ukraine because he'll talk to Emmanuel Macron or something. And Macron will be like, look, buddy, if you don't support Ukraine, we're going to do this, 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 and this and ruin your fucking life. Trump's like, oh, Ukraine can use missiles, whatever, get them cruise missiles, you can have tomahawks, you can do whatever you want. And then Putin calls, he's like, look here, you piece of shit. If you allow Ukraine to use tomahawks, I will release this, 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 and this, and your life will be ruined. And Trump's like, fuck Ukraine. Oh, they're a bunch of pieces of crap. Russia should have whatever they want. And then, the president of the EU calls up. And she's like, listen here, asshole. If you don't support Ukraine, we're going to dump $2 to $3 trillion in U.S. bonds and collapse your currency and your economy. And Trump will be like, oh, Ukraine, Zelensky's a great guy. So, let's say Europe does dump all U.S. Treasury bonds. Basically they hold 8 to 10% of all the Treasury bonds for the U.S. government. So just dump them. Just dump them in the market. Price crashes. Interest rates go through the roof. Right? Because they're trying to find buyers. At the same time, they privatize Social Security, which holds like 30%, 20% of all bonds. And Social Security dumps all their treasuries. And interest rates go through the roof, right? then China won't buy them. Japan probably won't buy them, right? You're looking at sovereign wealth funds dumping them. Your hedge funds that use and pension funds that use this as their collateral for making all their margin plays, all of a sudden the value of those things collapse and they're getting margin called all over the place. So massive sell-offs across the entire market start to happen. The only thing that might get saved is because the interest rates will be so insane, they'll keep the Japanese carry trades from triggering too much, right? Because if all of a sudden interest rates on U.S. Treasury bonds are like 10%, then Japan's like, whoo, you know? So, yeah, if Trump does the dumb shit, which you have to kind of assume that he is, because he's dumb, then you just assume that the market is going to be in a malaise and a downward trend for a very long time. They'll have to print a bunch of cash, and the thing is, they'll print a bunch of cash, but they won't release treasury bills so that it doesn't feel like it's printing, right? Because if you make it as borrowing, you receive cash from other people, and then you have the money, etc. But if they just print money like they did in 2020, then you're going to have the collapse of the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar won't be worth anything, and so we will have no purchasing power, and it will cause like everyone's budgets to get really, really thin all of a sudden. And this economy is not one that is designed to handle runaway inflation. Like third world countries deal with this crap all the time. You know, you don't have long-term employment contracts, like you get paid this much. It is pretty much, you know, it's fluid, man. It's very jazz. It's bebopping and scatting. Whereas we have a bunch of contracts. So let's say the dollar becomes worthless, and you have your teachers union, you've got your auto workers union, you've got your janitorial union, you've got your UFCW union, grocery workers, and they're all in these long-term contracts. And those long-term contracts within a year become worthless, right? Like a year ago, you're making an okay living with this union pay, and the next year you don't make enough money to buy groceries in a week because, you know, a loaf of bread is $40 or something. That's the type of stuff that will happen if everyone starts dumping their treasury bonds and this market goes dark real quick. So yeah, I do think Burry is kind of right in that. Problem is that Burry supports Trump. So yeah, Dig Dog Doink. Are you crazy? Don't eat that spam. You poop your pants off. That's a $4.99. No. All right. Polestar says yo, and show 741 and no moas Lisai. Polestar earnings next week, and many people calling for big moves upwards. Guess we're going further down. Yeah, I would assume earnings are going to be 25 plus cents per share, because it'd be 25 cents just with what they're earning on interest off of the cash they have, plus Q3 represents their new gambling system, the slot machine, their power packs, and a lot of people are spending money on that. So I think they got the gamblers hooked in on that sucker. So I wouldn't doubt if they beat earnings. I think the projected earnings is 19 or 20 cents per share. I'm really scared of opening another window. That everything's just going to crap out. And there, yeah. Chrome froze again. Streamlabs is still working. Chrome is frozen again. I can't open a window. So if somebody wants to open a window and put into the chat how much the estimated earnings is going to be on Tuesday for GameStop, please do. I will gladly see it once you do that. But I can't do it because Chrome. I'm looking at myself on the Chrome side going. So please help out. Okay, and then we'll discuss that in a second here. Okay, that's the spam one. That is, oh, Chrome just unfroze. There we are. Oh yeah, Michael Harrow down here is reminding me. He says, Houston, how about for New Year's you eat a can of spam that was made within the last 5 years? The problem with the New Year's thing is that I eat something I've never had before, and I've had Spam, so that doesn't count. So if you guys can think of like, frozen items or treats that you had a lot as a kid, because my family I never really got the chance to have them. Like, I've had maybe 5 Pop-Tarts in my entire life. We just didn't get Pop-Tarts. We didn't really get like the Fruity Pebbles type cereals, although I got to have those at friends' houses, and every once in a while, like on a road trip or something, you get a little box and eat that. Yeah. So the 4 years so far we've done the New Year's thing. First year was Hot Pockets. Those were terrible, and I will never do a Hot Pocket again. Year number 2 is White Castle burgers. I never had a White Castle burger. I don't know if it really counts because they're from the frozen section. Year 3 was the year I enjoyed, and that was pizza bagels. Pizza bagels, mwah, fantastic. I would eat pizza bagels if given to me. I'd be like, hell yeah, nom nom nom, and eat them all day long. And last year was the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits, which I guess they're better at Red Lobster. They really just tasted boring as shit. It's basically like a biscuit with scampi garlic butter on it, and garlic butter wasn't that great. I could make better garlic butter myself and throw it on some biscuits. So, hardtack Norwegian rye, yes, because I'm going to be crossing the oceans for 6 months. I don't think I've ever had hardtack, right? Yeah, used to, like, the Vikings used to take, I guess it was barley, and they'd make like a stew out of it, and then they would dehydrate the stew until it was like a cracker, and then out in the boat you just, like dehydrated food, like a MRE, you just throw it into a pot and catch a fish and throw it in there or whatever, and you will do that. Choose I'll mail you a Cuban sandwich. I've had a Cuban sandwich. We have one really good Cuban sandwich restaurant called Paseos here in Seattle. It's dynamite. Yeah. Do you like fish or not? I love fish. I live in Seattle. This is the fish capital of America. Like, the Japanese sushi chefs, like, they come here because we can get better fish than they get in Japan. So we've got a lot of kick-ass seafood here. So, all right, back to the line of the chat here. Where was I? Oops, that's the wrong one. This one. Okay. So that's Polestar doing Lasai. Joe Sporto 289 says, good evening. Since 54, the U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case on whether some children born in the U.S. have a constitutional right to citizenship. Thoughts? Supreme Court will make the wrong decision in this case and basically ruin America in the process. And that's what they're going to do. So, yeah, that's my thoughts, is that they're going to be like, well, just because you're born here, even though the Constitution says you're a citizen, we don't care because we're a bunch of assholes. And that's how they're going to rule. So the next president who comes in needs to do what they were telling Joe Biden to do, which was expand the Supreme Court to 13 or more seats. Stack the court with human beings and not monsters, and then go from there. Because these guys suck. They absolutely suck. We need to murder Citizens United. We need to take the cash out of politics. And just publicly fund elections at this point. Just get the interests out. Destroy the lobbyists. Get them out of here. Make it so that corporations themselves cannot donate to anything. Only human beings can. And if there are donations, and just go from there. But so whoever's the next president needs to be like, hey, I'm going to stack the Supreme Court so that the voices of people like Alito cannot be heard. Sis54 also says, if we could swap people's places, I would swap Emmett Till with Clarence Thomas. If you could swap 2 people, who would you swap? I never really thought about that. Like a dead person for a live person. Who's gone that I would swap with? I'd swap. Ooh. Trying to think. Like. Who would I swap? I think someone who was awesome enough. They got short too early. And there's a list of people who died too early. Ooh, okay. Maybe I'd swap Roberto Clemente with Stephen Miller. That's who I'd swap. Roberto Clemente gets to live, continue his good acts of charity